written production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.
It is 9 o'clock. Folks, it's at top of the hour. If we could take seats and we'll get started here. First of all, if you please rise if you're able, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Welcome to our board meeting today. I'm Tom Foster, President of the 2025 Board of Directors. This regular meeting of the Rec Centers of Sun City Board of Directors is audio and video recorded by the RCSC management and staff. Please be advised there is to be no recording of this meeting by any individual. And please take out your cell phones or electronic devices and check them to ensure everything is in a silent mode. We do not tolerate verbal or physical abuse towards any member, any guest, any visitor, employee, or staff member. Violators will be asked to leave the meeting. And not to be accused of verbal abuse, I would like to mention to Tim that looks like our next RCSC shirt that we should be wearing here. You carry it well.
Oh, we were?
All right, thank you.
Too much orange.
All right.
Kevin,
Moving on, let me introduce our timekeeper, who will have light duty today, and management personnel. Timekeeper will be Secretary Keiss. Management, Kevin McCurdy, Director of Finance. Mike is not here today. Mike Giermeyer, Director of Operations and our interim GM.
Morning.
Brian Dutho is Director of Golf. And Marcia Johnson, who is the board coordinator.
Good morning.
Also like to recognize Alan Kleinhans, Carla Young, Miguel Jackson, who serve as our audiovisual engineers. And of course, thank the Sundial staff for setting up the room for us this morning. All right, our first order of business is a roll call of the voting members. Secretary Keiss, would you please call the roll?
President Foster.
Here.
Vice President Nedesheim.
Here.
Treasurer Borski.
Here.
Director Ruff.
Here.
Director Gray.
Here.
Director Brissett.
There.
Director Collins.
Yes.
And I'm here. Mr. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. That's why it's handy to have. I would like to ask if there are any questions on the agenda from the board. Seeing none, the agenda is approved. The minutes of the March 27th, 2025 meeting were posted for the director's review. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? All right. Seeing none, minutes for the March 27th, 2025 meeting are approved. Thank you. Treasurer Borski, would you please make your treasurer's report?
Okay. Normally what I do is read this treasurer's report, which you've probably all seen online. And we've been asked to change that, so I'm not going to read it this time, but it will be filed for audit. I'm just going to speak to you on what people be concerned about, which are the red numbers. So if you look at the financial report, you'll find most of our red numbers are occurring in golf. And It's nothing that's a surprise to us. We've been watching it closely. Last year, we increased our rates, and if you match our this year's income to last year's income, we are actually higher. However, we are lower than what we budgeted for this year. And we're watching that closely. We will have another probably influx of memberships in the fall when our winter visitors come back, and that should increase our revenue. And we may have been just a little aggressive in our budget estimates. You've got to remember we're estimating and using our best guess, but we're watching it closely. Brian has been involved in discussions, and our new golf director will be heavily involved in discussions whenever that person is hired. Our expenses this year are, we have a balance, unspent balance from our budget that we haven't committed yet, and that is done purposely because of our shortfall in income. We're making sure we don't overspend more than we're getting. Our investment earnings have been very good. They're actually about 2.5 times of what we thought we were going to be getting at this time, so that's quite acceptable. Going back to the balance sheet, I'll give you a brief. Our cash balance is $14,722,734. Our PIF balance is $39,349,936, and our SIF balance is $1,040,726. Along with our other assets, gives us a balance of $66,779,233. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report from the board? All right, seeing none, the treasurer's report will be filed for audit. Management report. Are there any questions or comments on the management report?
Yes. I have some. You have some?
Okay, Director Ruff.
I was rereading it last night, and I thought, holy cow, we had a whole bunch of sales this last month. What the heck happened? And then I remembered that we had 200-unit property change hands, and they paid the PRIF. So it was sort of an unexpected boost of almost $1 million.
That is true.
So if they looked at it and saw that big spike, they might think like I did, holy cow, how many houses did they sell?
Well,
Tim's been running relentlessly through the place.
it's the shirt. I'm sure that's what does it. Kevin,
He's got to start working harder.
okay. Anything else, Mr. Ruff?
No.
Kevin, on that topic, though, oh, I'm sorry, wrong tab here. Was page 3, you have the cumulative resales year to date, and so 1,600 was our estimate for the year, so 400 a quarter, and we're noticeably ahead of that. So despite fears that the sky is falling economically, apparently it is not. So am I reading this correctly? We're ahead of our projections here.
Yeah, President Foster, I would say that we're slightly ahead of forecast. I wouldn't say we're significantly 420 versus 400.
Okay. Others had some questions. Vice President Nedesine.
Director McCurdy, I was looking at the incident reports, and I have just one question. It says RCSC property damage. Is that member or non-member or combination thereof?
Director Nedesheim, that's a combination of member property that was damaged with an incident report. So, for example, if somebody's golf cart were damaged in one of our parking lots, but more generally, it's typically RCSC property that was damaged.
Okay. And it's not double counted in the conduct policy violations?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I also have a question. It says that the fiber is at all locations. So we have fiber at all locations, and our next step is to improve bandwidth, correct?
Correct.
Okay. For the activities, under activities events, it says, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't get this to you guys before. Could we amend that to say the resident orientation, Sun City resident orientation, because it's no longer just new resident. It's on page 6. Please. And then I would like to take the opportunity to thank our media studio personnel. Whether you guys know it or not, when I, on the exchanges, when I get up with the mic and come down here and wander, it's much harder for them to follow me. What I did yesterday with the resident orientation, the Sun City resident orientation, that takes more expertise and technique, and I will tell you that our group often finds out these things at the last minute, so they're adjusting very quickly, and I want to thank them very specifically for everything they did yesterday and for being very adaptable when I've asked for changes. So thank you guys very much.
Treasurer Borski.
Kevin, I have some questions on the safety and compliance page as well, page 4. Marinette has seemed to be the leader in injuries. Is that mostly attributable to pickleball?
Correct.
Okay. And Oakmont, we seem to be having a rash of MCSO and conduct reports. What is going on there?
Director Borski, I'm going to have to look into that for you. I don't know the answer right off the top of my head.
Okay. It's, these would be members or non-members, correct?
It would typically be either, I'm trying to avoid the word altercation because it could be strictly verbal.
Okay.
It could be member, or it could be member staff, combination of the two.
How about general public staff?
Yep,
Okay. Not necessarily a Sun City resident?
correct.
Okay, thank you. Chris stole my other questions.
Director Collins.
Yeah, thank you. Kevin, could we get another column in there that shows injuries in clubs for the future?
Director Collins, yeah, we could. It would take a little finessing it, but yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
Secretary Keiss.
Yeah, I had a little confusion. On page 1, it says the golf income budget was down by $172,000, but if I add up all the red numbers for golf, it comes to around $300,000. So I'm wondering why my math is different than yours.
So Director Keiss, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
On page 1 under financials, in bold letters, it says golf income was below budget by $172,657. But if I actually go to the sheet that has the numbers on it, and I add all of them for golf as far as where we are, it comes up to about $300,000. And I'm just wondering how my numbers aren't the same, or how they don't seem to look the same.
You don't have a magic pen.
So Director Keiss, the first paragraph of the finance section is for the month. Second paragraph is year-to-date. So when you're looking at that 172 deficit, that's for the month of March. The year-to-date golf income deficit to budget is $335,000.
Okay, but in the second paragraph, it says golf pass income was 146. It doesn't say anything for 335. Okay, sorry. Excuse me.
No, those are excellent questions. We want to
They're
make
not because they're not good questions. They should be more accurate. Sorry, Kevin.
No problem.
others. Okay, Kevin, I did, I think, leave you a voicemail on this issue or number that was on page 1. Let's see, the paragraph that's titled year-to-date net operating excess. Mm-hmm. And then there's about 2/3 of the way down that paragraph, there's a sentence that reads, this unfavorable variance in income was more than offset by total operating expenses being $751,000 and change under budget. And when I looked at the income statement year-to-date that was in amongst the treasurer report data, there's a different number. And was that a timing difference or a typo, or can we reconcile that?
Yeah, so President Foster, on the one-page income statement, to basically save some space, we put cost of sales in the operating expense section. So if you look at that total operating expense, but then compare it to the fully detailed income statement, the operating expenses on the summary version is a little higher because we've included cost of sales in that section.
Okay. It's always nice when the accountants wave their sleight of hand. Thank you, though, that explains it. And then the last thing, and this is just kind of a nit, but on the very last page, page 16, we have a year-to-date snack shop revenue comparison. And I'm assuming all the numbers in that chart are dollars, and they're not indicated to be dollars, but I'm pretty sure that's what you intended.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions or concerns with the management? Director Ruff?
I had a member come to me and complain about the price of beer on the golf courses being exceptionally high. You can go to the store and buy a can of the beer for less than $1, and they were asking $3.50 or $4.50 or whatever it was. And we had discovered that on our going to facilities and getting updates. I just would like to maybe review that.
I would say that has been observed by other members of the board, and I think we would kind of be waiting for perhaps the future director of golf, perhaps. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Dearmeyer.
Thank you. I just want to quickly make the comment. Liquor laws are very strict. We have to purchase the beer and the alcohol from specific companies. We can't go to the grocery store. So there are times that you will find a sale at a grocery store. It's actually, you're buying it cheaper than we're buying it for. We're required to go through these companies. So I just don't want that comment about they can go to the grocery store and get it for less than $1 a can. It's costing us more than $1 in some cases. Okay.
Okay.
Wasn't that Heineken, and we have a tariff on it anyway, so.
I think there's another.
Secretary Kais, go
I think
ahead.
there's another way of looking at this also, in that our competition when you have a point of sale is not with a grocery store. Our competition, if you go to another golf course, if you go to a restaurant, you go to some other establishment that sells alcohol, is our prices for that out of line with them? And I don't believe they are, with the exception of pitchers of beer down in South. But for the rest of it, it doesn't seem like they're that out of line if you go to other retail establishments.
Well, I think that's something that will probably be reviewed in the future, but I don't know that it's a pressing issue at the moment. Yes,
President
Director Duthu?
I was mostly going to say what Director Kais was alluding to, is that I think that if you did a competitive marketing analysis with our cost of beer to other golf courses or recreational type facilities, you'd find it to be far cheaper than the $13 can of beer I bought last night at the Diamondbacks game.
I don't get real thirsty when I go to those games.
$13?
Yeah, it's not cheap. So
Vice President Edesine?
I would also like to add that, to just give you guys an example, Luke Air Force Base Golf Course, which everything is subsidized on military installations. They're selling a beer for $7. So that's twice as much as what we're doing. And I know some of the, what would be considered more better brands of beer are a little bit more expensive, but I have always felt that our alcohol sales are very competitive and well-priced, but.
All right, any other further corrections? Treasurer Borski?
I have one question. I think I remember hearing this. We do no longer have outside golf tournaments on our courses, correct?
Director Borski, it's not entirely correct. We have them on weekend, in season from November through April. We don't host them Monday through Friday
Oh, okay, it's just during the week.
to open up more tee times for resident play.
Okay, was asked by my neighbors, so I thought I'd check. Thank you.
But people have to understand that there's a cost of doing that also. By not allowing tournaments during the week, we're losing revenue. So when you talk about ways that golf could increase revenue, that is a possibility that we have to look at in the future. You know, we either push for more outside play, which is going to decrease the tee times, going to decrease the amount that people play. You've got to raise the revenue someplace, and that is a possibility of what the Golf Advisory Committee is going to have to look at, because as you can see, we're short on budget, and we don't want to keep doing that.
All right. Seeing no further comments, the management report is accepted. Let's move on to committee and liaison reports. Do any directors have any reports today? Director Gray?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't have a report on my liaison, but I do want to acknowledge the great work that our Vice President, Chris Nettesheim, did yesterday. If you haven't seen the video, which has been posted on the Sun City Homeowners Association website, we had an orientation here in this room, and with Sun City Homeowners Association, the Condo Owners Association, and the Rec Centers of Sun City. And as far as I'm concerned, for me, looking at community-wide, our Articles of Incorporation clearly state that we are to work with all the other organizations for the betterment of our members, our community. And yesterday, to me, was a great example of us doing that. I'm proud of what the Rec Center has done. I was pleased to see, again, our Vice President jump in there and work to develop this with Showa, and I hope that we can get that video posted on our RCSC social media site too. But again, I think, one, we've heard so many things said. For me, as a new board member, only been on a few months, but I've heard so many people talking about what's happened in the past and this and that, and we don't control the past, we control now, what we do now. And I just want to applaud all the work that Chris has done with that, and the cooperation of our Rec Center board that it helped make that happen. I think it portends a good future for Sun City as we move forward in more and more cooperation with our other organizations.
Thank you, Director Gray. I certainly second those comments. It was a terrific turnout yesterday, and the video folks followed you across the floor very well. And I think you got all your steps in as I was counting them. You put in several miles going back and forth, but good for you.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, Treasurer Borski.
You know, when you have an event like yesterday, you're always looking for the successes. And I had a gentleman come up to me, he said he's lived here about 4 or 5 years, and he told me he finally understands PIF. He was thrilled to know where the money is, how we get it, and what we do with it, and how we decide what we do with it. So we did have a success. One more person is going to tell his neighbors what PIF is and what we do.
All right, that's one in a row. Good. Director Collins.
Thank you. The template is out there for the clubs. They have until the first of the year to get their rules in the template form. If they need any help, they can call Angela, and she'll get the COC to come down and help them. We will be more than happy to come down and help you get through it. And then you'll find, once you get it, it's very simple. A lot of clubs have already done it, and they're not having any problem with it. So please take the time to do that. Thank you.
Secretary Kais.
Yes, I was at the Sun City Fire District's Board of Directors meeting. I'm the liaison there. And a lot of people have heard that they're looking at increasing or charging a fee for non-ambulance related calls. And a little bit of background knowledge or data on why they have to look at this. It wasn't a while ago, they were averaging about 6,000 calls a year. Right now, they're averaging 15,000 calls a year. And they don't really have a greatly increased amount of staff or equipment to deal with that. Coupled along with their increased call volumes, the highest assessed value, they get an assessed value for the district that they're in, and that's how they get monies. Their assessed values for the homes in the Sun City Fire District still hasn't recovered from when the market turned down in 2008. So their assessed values haven't gotten back up to the level they were before. And with the changes in tax laws, a lot of our members are getting more exemptions on their state income tax, and that is driving down their revenues also. So their revenues aren't reaching the levels they need to, so they have to find a different way to do that. And that's part of what's driving, a good part of what's driving their desire to do this. We are working with Chief Schmitz, who is, if you've ever met him, Chief Schmitz is an outstanding member of and leads the fire department. We're talking about trying to get him here for the May 12th exchange to give a little presentation and give you some more background data on why this is necessary for them in order to be able to keep the level of service that they have right now.
Thank you, Secretary Keiss. I meant to mention that, so thank you for bringing that up. I'm sorry, Vice President Nettesheim.
So just two things. I would like to, the Friends of the Library run the bookstores at our Fairway and our Bell libraries. They will have modified hours for the summer, so I would just recommend if you are a full-time person and you will be frequenting the bookstore, just check on the hours. They're not super modified, they're just slightly modified. So if you guys could go ahead and just give a call and make sure you understand the hours, that would be great. I would hate for anybody to just kind of show up expecting and then it would not be there. The other thing I would like to do is talk about Framework 2040, Maricopa County Framework 2040. This is the comprehensive plan that they are building. They do it every 10 years, Maricopa County. This year, we are going to be hosting on May 9th, the Framework 2040 District 4 resident forum. So basically what they're looking for is that we're opening up Sundial, and I want to share with people there will be people here that are not members because it's for District 4. So whatever the catchment area for District 4 is, this is a community service we're doing because it's a service to the members and it's a service to the community. And the primary purpose is for us to be able to come in and share our thoughts about what their comprehensive plan should have included in it and how it impacts us. And my understanding, it's not confirmed yet, but my understanding is legislators will be there, so you have the opportunity. SHOA is sponsoring this, so I want to thank SHOA for doing that, and we are hosting. So put that on your calendar because I think it's a really important thing. The other thing is if you go to SHOA's website, you can click on a button, it'll take you to the website for 2040, and SHOA has posted. If you guys remember with Triarch, we had the boards where we put the Post-it notes on it. They have a virtual one, and SHOA has posted different different Post-it notes that you can add comments to, and you can add your own. So if you want to communicate to Maricopa County about what's important to us, and just think about some of the things is law enforcement, roads, lights, I would say to a certain extent, how our funds are being spent, right? What portion goes where? There's just different pieces, I think, that are important for them to know. So I would like to encourage everybody to come if they can and put it on their calendar. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Nettesheim. And one less thing on my list now. So you guys are taking away all my thunder, which is awesome. Treasurer Borski.
I just have a short update from the foundation. As you know, the foundation is a supporting organization of RCSC. Our purpose is only to support RCSC and our members. So far this year, we are helping a lot more of our lower income members who are having trouble paying their fee assessments. In 2023, we helped 36 people. In 2024, we helped 67. And right now, we're about at 53. So we have nearly met our whole last year's number in the first 3 months of this year. People are really hurting. The economy is not helping. And we're contacting more and more people. And by doing this, we're doing nothing more than paying the fees for those residents to remain active, and that money goes right back to our RCSC, which increases our revenue. So if you've got an extra $5 in your pocket and you feel like donating to a charity, I would say think about the Sun City Foundation. Thank you.
Okay. Normally, we would have a GM report here, but I think we'll waive that one until we have a new GM in place. So a few comments from myself, the president here. If you looked at the management report, there were a number of highlights in there about projects that we have been working on. Clearly, one of our main goals here is to maintain the facilities that we have. Yes, we're working towards building things at Mountain View and other places, but we want to maintain what we have as well. And I just wanted to update you a little bit on some of those. And one is the pickleball courts at Mountain View, which I've heard rave reviews. So although Mr. Whiproot is not here today, good kudos to him and his staff there. The tennis courts at Mountain View are going to get a little patching and updating. That is going to happen shortly. We are still working on putting a little bit of patching on the pool at the deck of the pool at Mountain View. Nothing substantial there because, in a few months we're going to tear that up probably. So not going to spend a ton of money there, but just want to patch a few cracks that are showing up there. If you did not know, the Meeker Mountain waterfall had been on the blink for a fair period of time, but that pump has finally been repaired and installed, and that's running again. The Lakeview pool had a circulation pump that went out. That's been repaired, and so that pool was back up and running within a day. We put some new HVAC units. Although these facilities have multiple units, we did replace a handful of units at Lakeview, at Marinette, and at Sundial. The outdoor Bell spa pump, that also went out, but we were able to get that replaced and repaired within 1 day, so that did not have any substantial downtime either. If you've been to the Lakeview pool in the last few months, you hopefully noticed that decking had been repaired and new furniture was there and awnings. It looks very nice, very resort looking. Some of the same type of things were done at Oakmont as far as the decking and new furniture. And Fairway has new decking and new furniture is on order, as I understand. So we're doing the best we can with funds that we have available to maintain facilities. And if you want to see others that have been worked on, you can look through the management report and see a longer listing there. I guess we don't really need to talk much about the 3-minute speaking policy today. I don't believe there'll be too many opportunities for that today. The board is working on the job description for the general manager. We've had one very long meeting on that already, and we'll do some more. Director of golf situation, the individual in our HR department unfortunately had some surgery this week, and so we're probably going to be a week behind on further work on that situation, but we have moved forward there. Secretary Keiss is chairing our working group for the bylaws. They have been actively meeting and have made a major step forward in listening to all but, I believe, one individual who made motions for the or proposed member motions that were at least being proposed for the annual meeting last month. And so a lot of that input has now been taken by the working group, and they will put that into good use as far as the revisions that they will be proposing to the bylaws. Mountain View status, the real expert is sitting to my left, but my understanding now is that Triarch is arranging to contact stakeholders, and I guess my admonition to you would be, if you, not for you or a club to try to contact Triarch, rather contact the board, and the board will make sure that Triarch has you on the list of stakeholders if you feel that you've been overlooked. So we want to let Triarch do their job and funnel those requests through the board if possible. Okay, that concludes my remarks here. Any committee recommendations pending? Seeing none, next business item of business is consent agenda. We have a request to approve the D-charter of the Hospitality Club at the request of that club. We have been told that the Fun City Card Club will absorb the members of the Hospitality Club. Is there any discussion from the board members? Seeing none, Secretary Keiss, will you please take the roll call vote?
Oh, I'm unprepared for this. Hold on a second. I'm new at my job, folks. Excuse me.
I moved too quickly for you, sorry.
Well, that's not a difficult thing to do, my friend. What page am I on? No, I don't have that.
You want this one?
Yes, if you could, please. Okay. Thank you. Treasurer Borski.
Yes.
Director Collins.
Yes.
Vice President Nettesheim.
Yes.
Director Ruff.
Yes.
Director Gray.
Yes.
Director Brissett.
Yes.
President Foster.
Yes.
And I vote yes. So by a vote of 8-0, the motion passes.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda would be for second readings, but there are none. New business, is there anything that any of the board members, we have no other pending motions on this agenda. Is there any other issue the board wishes to raise? All right, seeing none. The next meeting will be the exchange meeting on May 12th at 9 a.m. here at Sundial. The next meeting of the Board of Directors will be on May 29th at 9 a.m. here. And the next annual meeting will be on March 10th of 2026 at 6 p.m. again here. So there being no further business and without objection, the meeting will be adjourned. Don't forget to turn your cell phones back on. Hearing no objections, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.
I found it now.
This is a copyrighted production of the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated and is intended for the sole purpose of informing our Recreation Center members. Any duplication, copying, transmission, broadcast, or use, including electronic and social media, is strictly prohibited without the prior written consent from the Recreation Centers of Sun City Incorporated. Thank you for watching.